Let's move to this story, which we mentioned a little moment ago. The Times newspaper has uncovered a dodgy operation by criminals within the UK that are falsely granting migrants the right to work in the country through fake jobs and visa sponsorships. The Times posted this video that comes from their investigation. Have a listen.
What we can do is we can give you COS and company will pay you monthly salaries into your account, and you have to pay back that salary to the different account of the same company.
Yeah, a lot to get into there. Let's speak with Mark Littlewood, Director of Popular Conservatism. Mark, good afternoon to you. Something about this story, great journalism, good to have it uncovered, great to see it. There it is on video, caught red-handed. But for some reason, it doesn't actually surprise me.
You're quite right, Ian, aren't you? I mean, it is a good piece of journalism by the Times, but it's yet more evidence that our system is broken and unbelievably easy to get around, right? If all you need is a certificate of sponsorship in order to be able to remain in Britain, and eventually, perhaps after a number of years, to actually then qualify for British citizenship, surprise, surprise, the black market will be providing them. So this gives the impression to the enforcement agencies that you're in gainful employment when you're not. God only knows what you're actually getting up to, probably something in the black market economy. So yet more evidence that the immigration system is completely broken. We need clearer, stricter, but also simpler rules, I think, to deal with this. I mean, my suggestion on this is, rather than having you need a job that has a certain salary in order to qualify to remain in Britain, what we should say is that you need to be a contributor to government services. And if you were to divide total UK government spending, Ian, amongst the entire population, it comes in at about £17,000 per person per year. Yep. That should be the cost, basically, by and large, for a visa to work here. Then you wouldn't have all of these scams and schemes to issue you a certificate as a workaround. We want to see your readies. We want to see the colour of your money. Yep. You need to be paying that into the government. Otherwise, no visa, no stay.
Yeah, completely reasonable stuff. I would imagine as well, when it comes to sort of moody and iffy documentation, that world is probably getting much easier. You know, I'm thinking about AI and the capability of sort of printing and the sort of things you can do. There's very complex computing systems that will even lob a watermark into some things that would have looked impossible a couple of years ago. So there's a sort of cat and mouse game being played there with iffy documentation.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's an easy workaround. I mean, if you're caught, there are obviously penalties. It's a criminal activity, but it seems quite easy to do. So, you know, as I say, props to the Times for exposing it. I hope that the chap they've caught on camera is tracked down and properly punished for it. But I think you've really got to move to a system that is in some way or another based on money and based on transactions, not based on documentation. Because, as you rightly say, documentation's always been quite easy to fake, but easier and easier. You just need a printer, a couple of software programs, and you can knock off any sort of documentation that you want. So let's actually let's move to a situation where if you want to come here and want to work, and we want people to come to Britain and work, there's a fee attached. You pay for it. And if your money doesn't clear His Majesty's government's bank account, you're not entitled to stay. That's very hard to fake, right?
It is, and a very simple solution, I would have thought. It just sort of feeds into this story as well, Mark. While you're with us, just a word, if you could, on this again. Nothing surprises us. More migrants arrive in the UK that have been kicked out under this sort of shambolic one-in, one-out scheme. So, which means no one has really been deported here at all. These are the people that are allowed back in, agreed by France, after we've kicked people out. Well, 350 migrants have come in, 281 have been returned. So we're getting more people come in than we kick out. This is the definition of madness, Mark.
Absolute madness, Ian. And so it's not one in, one out, is it? We're still gaining. But, I mean, the policy, even if it was working as designed and as intended and as the name suggests, doesn't touch the sides, right? Even if it was one in, one out, by definition, you're not going to hit the overall numbers. You're just changing the nature of the cohort. We're putting one person into France and taking one person from France, but they can't even do that. So a wholly unambitious scheme, which, surprise, surprise, has yielded a pitiful result. But even if it was working perfectly, would still be yielding a pitiful result.
Yes.
We need to do something much bigger, much stronger, much clearer, much firmer. And all of this fiddling around on the sides is never going to work, and it's now been proven that it doesn't work.
Indeed, and it's just worth noting the bigger number there as well, Mark, that when this was announced in September, since then, this was meant to be the great deterrent. 10,000 people have crossed the channel, so it's going brilliantly.
No deterrent has happened, has there? And there's one thing that I think we're going to have to keep a beady eye on, Ian, on all of these statistics in the months and years to come, is that net migration might fall. But that's in part because the numbers coming in are being offset by rich, successful, hardworking Brits deciding they've had enough. Well, that might show overall the population going down, but the nature of the population is worsening. So we've got to keep a beady eye on those gross figures, not just the net migration figures, as you rightly suggest.
Indeed, spot on. Great to have you on again, Mark. Good to see you. Keep well, sir. Mark Littlewood, Director of Popular Conservatives.